Bazarov frowned. "Never mind about that," he muttered. "I wanted to say that I don't properly understand why you settled in the country." "You don't understand it, yet you explain it to yourself somehow." "Yes, I suppose that you prefer to remain in one place because you are self-indulgent, very fond of comfort and ease, and very indifferent to everything else." Madame Odintsov smiled again. "You absolutely refuse to believe that I am capable of being carried away by anything?" Bazarov glanced at her from under his brows. "By curiosity, perhaps, but in no other way." "Indeed? Well, now I understand why we have become such friends. You are just like me." "We have become friends," Bazarov muttered in a hollow voice. "Yes, why, I had forgotten that you want to go away." Bazarov got up. The lamp burned dimly in the darkening, isolated, fragrant room; the blind swayed from time to time and let in the stimulating freshness of the night and its mysterious whispers. Madame Odintsov did not stir, but a hidden excitement gradually took possession of her; it communicated itself to Bazarov. He suddenly felt he was alone with a young and beautiful woman. "Where are you going?" she said slowly. He made no answer and sank into a chair. "And so you consider me a placid, pampered, self-indulgent creature," she continued in the same tone and without taking her eyes off the window. "But I know so much about myself that I am unhappy." "You unhappy? What for? Surely you can't attach any importance to slanderous gossip?" Madame Odintsov frowned. She was upset that he had understood her words in that way. "Such gossip does not even amuse me, Evgeny Vassilich, and I am too proud to allow it to disturb me. I am unhappy because I have no desires, no love of life. You look at me suspiciously; you think those are the words of an aristocrat who sits in lace on a velvet chair. I don't deny for a moment that I like what you call comfort, and at the same time I have little desire to live. Reconcile that contradiction as best you can. Of course it is all sheer romanticism to you." Bazarov shook his head. "You are healthy, independent and rich. What more is left? What do you want?" "What do I want?" repeated Madame Odintsov, and sighed. "I am very tired. I am old, I feel as if I had lived a very long time. Yes, I am old," she added, softly drawing the ends of her shawl over her bare arms. Her eyes met Bazarov's and she blushed slightly. "So many memories are behind me: life in Petersburg, wealth, then poverty, then my father's death, marriage, then traveling abroad, as was inevitable; so many memories and so little worth remembering, and in front of me a long, long road without a goal. I have not even the desire to go on." "Are you so disappointed?" asked Bazarov. "No," answered Madame Odintsov, speaking with deliberation, "but I am dissatisfied. I think if I were strongly attached to something." "You want to fall in love," Bazarov interrupted her, "but you can't love. That is your unhappiness." Madame Odintsov started looking at the shawl over her sleeve. "Am I incapable of love?" she murmured. "Hardly. But I was wrong in calling it unhappiness. On the contrary, a person should rather be pitied when that happens to him." "When what happens to him?" "Falling in love." "And how do you know that?" "I have heard it," answered Bazarov angrily. "You are flirting," he thought. "You're bored and are playing with me for want of anything better to do, while I ..." Truly his heart was torn. "Besides, you may be expecting too much," he said, leaning forward with his whole body and playing with the fringe of his chair. "Perhaps. I want everything or nothing. A life for a life, taking one and giving up another without hesitation and beyond recall. Or else better have nothing." "Well," observed Bazarov, "those are fair terms, and I'm surprised that so far you haven't found what you want." "And do you think it would be easy to give oneself up entirely to anything?" "Not easy, if you start reflecting, waiting, estimating your value, appraising yourself, I mean. But to give oneself unreasoningly is very easy." "How can one help valuing oneself? If I have no value, then who needs my devotion?" "That is not my affair; it is for another person to investigate my value. The main thing is to know how to devote oneself." Madame Odintsov leaned forward from the back of her chair. "You speak as if you had experienced it all yourself," she said. "It happened to come up in the course of our conversation, but all that, as you know, is not in my line." "But could you devote yourself unreservedly?" "I don't know. I don't want to boast." Madame Odintsov said nothing, and Bazarov remained silent. The sounds of the piano floated up to them from the drawing room. "How is it that Katya is playing so late?" observed Madame Odintsov. Bazarov got up. "Yes, it really is late now. Time for you to go to bed." "Wait a little. Why should you hurry? I want to say one word to you." "What is it?" "Wait a little," whispered Madame Odintsov. Her eyes rested on Bazarov; it seemed as if she was examining him attentively. He walked across the room, then suddenly came up to her hurriedly, said good bye, squeezed her hand so that she almost screamed, and went out. She raised her compressed fingers to her lips, breathed on them, then rose impulsively from her armchair and moved rapidly towards the door, as if she wanted to bring Bazarov back. A maid entered the room carrying a decanter on a silver tray. Madame Odintsov stood still, told the maid she could go, and sat down again, deep in thought. Her hair slipped loose and fell in a dark coil over her shoulders. The lamp went on burning for a long time in her room while she still sat there motionless, only from time to time rubbing her hands which were bitten by the cold night air. Bazarov returned to his bedroom 2 hours later, his boots wet with dew, looking disheveled and gloomy. He found Arkady sitting at the writing desk with a book in his hands, his coat buttoned up to the neck. "Not in bed yet?" he exclaimed with what sounded like annoyance. "You were sitting a long time with Anna Sergeyevna this evening," said Arkady without answering his question. "Yes, I sat with her all the time you were playing the piano with Katerina Sergeyevna." "I was not playing," began Arkady, and stopped. He felt that tears were rising in his eyes, and he did not want to cry in front of his sarcastic friend. Chapter 18.